Strange wasn't in the snack bar. Most mornings he sat at his usual table sipping on a cup of hot chocolate, perusing the Pacific edition of the Stars and Stripes. By 0730 hours, he'd hoist himself upright, stick his folded newspaper into his back pocket, and mosey on over to the 8th Army Headquarters building about 2 blocks away. There he'd let himself into the steel-reinforced classified documents vault, hang up his hat and his jacket, roll open the iron-barred customer window, and start handing out reports stamped confidential or secret, or upon occasion, top secret. After that is, the supplicants presented their military identification and properly annotated the sign-out, sign-in register with the date, time, document number, destination, and purpose of acquisition. But this morning, for some reason, he wasn't at his usual table in the big Quonset hut that housed the 8th Army snack bar. I don't think Ernie noticed. He hurried to the serving line and ordered a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. Because my stomach was gurgling, I grabbed an overpriced fruit cup out of the display cooler. After a quick stop at the cash register, we walked toward the rear of the Quonset hut, a few people nodding to us along the way. Ernie was just slightly over 6 feet tall, with a pointed nose and green eyes peeking accusingly out at the world from behind round-lensed glasses. Not particularly good-looking, I thought, but for some reason, a reason unfathomable to me, women found him attractive. Maybe it was his energy, a nervous compulsion to fire them up, that is, cause trouble. I was a couple inches taller than Ernie, maybe 20 pounds heavier, on the darker side, Hispanic, the gringo stereotype of a mugger. Together we made people nervous, which more often than not was the desired effect. At the back wall we found an open table, plopped porcelain mugs onto formica, sat down, and began discussing the day's work. "More black market detail," I said. "Riley's got a hair up his butt," Ernie told me. He was referring to Staff Sergeant Riley, NCO in charge of the administrative section of the CID detachment, a stickler for keeping tabs on the black market arrest statistics. His boss and our boss, Colonel Walter P. Brace, the 8th Army Provost Marshal, briefed the 8th Army Chief of Staff at least twice weekly on our so-called progress on the black market detail. In other words, on how many yobos, the Korean wives of U.S. servicemen we'd busted, buying duty-free PX and commissary goods on the American compound and selling them for a nice markup